The sun was setting behind the snow-covered mountains of the Alaskan wilderness, painting the sky a brilliant shade of orange. Bitterly cold winds howled through the vast forests, carrying swirls of white snow across the rugged landscape. Inside a remote military base, Lieutenant Scott Parker was finishing up his daily tasks when the alarm at the main gate blared. A full-grown brown bear had unexpectedly breached the security perimeter. Soldiers quickly took their positions, weapons at the ready. But something was unusual. The bear was not aggressive. It stood still, panting heavily, its wild eyes reflecting desperation. Snow clung to its thick fur, but it seemed unfazed by the biting cold. Parker raised a hand, signaling his team to hold fire. He observed the animal closely. It was trembling, not from fear, but from exhaustion. The bear lowered its head slightly before turning around, taking a few steps, then looking back at the soldiers with pleading eyes. It repeated the action, as if urging them to follow. Exchanging glances, Parker made a swift decision. Keeping a safe distance, he and his team cautiously trailed the bear. It led them through the snowy forest, past slippery boulders, and through knee-deep drifts of snow. Every step it took left heavy imprints, marking its fatigue and urgency. After what felt like an eternity, the bear stopped at the entrance of an abandoned mineshaft. Its breath formed white clouds in the freezing air. Parker and his men heard faint cries coming from below. Kneeling at the edge of the shaft, Parker shone his flashlight downward and spotted two bear cubs trapped in the deep pit, about 15 feet below. They huddled together, trembling, their eyes wide with fear. It was evident they had been trapped for hours, possibly an entire day, unable to climb out. The mother bear let out a low, sorrowful sound, locking eyes with Parker in silent plea. In that moment, he understood, this was not just an animal, it was a mother in distress. Compassion surged within him. But the rescue was not straightforward. The mineshaft was unstable, its old, jagged walls covered in icy snow that could collapse at any moment. The weather was worsening, snowflakes now fell heavily, reducing visibility. Time was running out. If they didn't act fast, the entrance could become completely buried under snow, sealing the cubs' fate. "We're getting them out," Parker declared. His men sprang into action, securing ropes, pulleys, and climbing gear. One soldier volunteered to descend into the pit, carefully lowering himself using safety ropes. But as he neared the cubs, the larger one panicked and tried to back away, nearly slipping deeper into the shaft. The soldier paused, speaking softly, trying to calm the frightened animal. Parker watched intently from above, holding his breath. The weaker cub was barely conscious, its breath shallow. The soldier gently wrapped it in a blanket and signaled to be pulled up. The team braced against the rope, carefully hauling the cub to the surface. As soon as it reached the top, the mother bear rushed forward, sniffing and nuzzling it frantically, her sounds a mix of worry and relief. But they were not done yet. The second rescue was even more perilous. As the soldier bent down to pick up the remaining cub, a loud rumble echoed through the shaft. An avalanche of ice and debris suddenly cascaded down, nearly trapping him inside. "Hold the rope steady," Parker shouted, his heart pounding as he saw his man struggle. With the help of his comrades, the soldier freed himself from the collapsing debris and clutched the second cub tightly. The team strained to lift them both. Minutes of tense struggle passed before, finally, the cub was safely pulled to the surface. Shivering in the soldier's arms, its eyes still held fear but no longer hopelessness. The mother bear stepped forward, checking both cubs before lifting her gaze to Parker. It was not the gaze of a mere wild creature, it was one of recognition and gratitude. She nudged her cubs forward, guiding them back toward the forest, but before disappearing, she turned back one last time, locking eyes with Parker as if memorizing the face of those who had saved her family. Word of the rescue spread throughout the base and beyond. This was no ordinary wildlife encounter, it changed perspectives within the military. Instead of seeing wild animals only as potential threats, the base implemented measures to protect them. Old mineshafts were inspected and sealed to prevent future incidents. As the harsh Alaskan winter returned, the soldiers continued their duties, but the story of that night remained fresh. Occasionally, soldiers glimpsed the mother bear and her cubs wandering near the outskirts of the base. Unlike before, they no longer avoided human presence. One young soldier once left food at the forest's edge and the next morning found fresh bear tracks around the spot. One snowy evening, Parker stood atop the watchtower, gazing into the distance. He wondered if the bear family had found shelter. Then, movement caught his eye. A dark silhouette stood atop a snowy ridge, watching the base. A small smile played on Parker's lips as he recognized the familiar form of the mother bear. It was a fleeting moment, but he felt an unspoken bond between them. From that day forward, the mother bear and her cubs became a cherished memory among the soldiers, a reminder of courage, compassion, and an unexpected connection between man and nature. The story of the mother bear and the soldiers is more than an extraordinary event, it holds profound lessons about compassion, bravery, and the connection between humanity and nature. In life, we often find ourselves like the mother bear, facing adversity, feeling trapped, and seeking help. The key is to never lose hope, for kindness can come from the most unexpected places. Perseverance and faith can lead to miracles, even in the harshest conditions. Lieutenant Parker and his team's actions also remind us that empathy transcends boundaries. Acts of kindness should not be limited by species or circumstances. In moments of crisis, choosing to listen, to care, and to act with love can make a difference, not just for others, but for ourselves. The relationship between humans and nature does not have to be one of conflict, but of understanding, protection, and coexistence. This story is also a powerful reminder that sometimes, the most important decisions are not dictated by rigid rules, but by conscience and compassion. Instead of fearing the unknown, we should learn to observe, to feel, and to respect. Because sometimes, the greatest miracles happen when we trust and believe in each other.